Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, as always. As for our guest, he's from Sapporo, Japan, and he is a business consultant, founder slash CEO of a marketing agency, and 15 years of experience in marketing, startups, entrepreneurship, M&As, and consulting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ray Voice, but most people call him RV.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
So it's all great. Depends on what you're asking. Business is great, and my personal life is also going great.
Very nice. And is there anything in terms of business or in your life in general that you're currently up to at the moment?
So business-wise, what we are up to is we are building our benchmarks. So in 2023 to 2024, we had a 12-month period where we generated 11 million leads for the businesses and our clients, and we are focusing on improving that number. And the two numbers that I really talk to about with my clients. Those numbers are that we have done 37 million in Facebook advertising and paid advertising in other forms. And we have generated 11 million leads within 12 months for our clients, right? So those are the two numbers that I'm really focused on building. We are thinking of doing about 22 million in 2023 to 2024. We did 11 million, right? So this year we are focusing on doubling that number, and we are also focusing on getting more paid advertising in, so we have more data to focus on and create better advertising for our clients. So that is my current project with my business.
All right then, very good. And what has inspired you to take and go on this path that you are on right now?
So what used to happen is for the last 15 years, my agency has primarily been a white label agency, right? So what that means is we do all of the marketing for other companies while they get clients for themselves under their own brand names, but we do all of the work for them, right? But for the last I guess 16 months or so, we are also building our own brand and getting clients under our own banner. So right now, most of our clients are from Japan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Malaysia, and these sorts of places, right? And about a smaller portion of our clients come from Europe, from Switzerland, Germany, and the Netherlands. And right now, we are focusing on getting more and more clients from the US and Canada. So right now, about 10% of our clientele is from US and Canada, and we are focusing on improving that number, right? But American markets and Canadian markets, those markets respond differently to inbound marketing, right? So what we are focusing on is we are focusing on building an image, and we strongly believe that an image must be backed by benchmark numbers. So that's why we are building this project to get our benchmark numbers in, so we can focus on building our image behind those benchmark numbers as foundation.
Brilliant. Is Are there any jobs or opportunities you haven't done yet? However, you have this urge and passion to try it out someday?
You mean the jobs I've done?
I'm talking about are there jobs or opportunities you haven't done yet that you want to do?
If you're talking about jobs personally, then I've done a lot of different jobs, right? So I was born in Asia, where it was very common to get started at a job at a very young age. So I started selling tea to shop owners at the age of 7, and it's very common in Asia, but it's extremely common where I used to live, where I was born, right? So after that, as I grew up, I went to music school, and I got an opportunity to work as a manager for a music venue, right? So I worked as a manager for about 8 months, which I often consider one of the most relaxing and best times of my life. Afterwards, I also got an opportunity to work with a publisher at a publishing house, and I also got the opportunity to work in a music production house, where we used to find clients, hunt clients, and talent hunt music artists and get them to produce their own music. And I also then ultimately what I did is I started as a freelancer in the marketing and web design space, and over time it grew into my agency, which is called Muramasa. And yeah, it just went on from there.
Fabulous. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
I mean, 20 years is a long time, but I guess in 20 years from now, I definitely see myself as, professionally speaking, I really want to be the biggest marketing company that ever existed. And we are not just a marketing company, right? We are also a think tank. We work with a lot of civil servants and politicians, and companies that are looking to conduct marketing research. And I really want to be on top of my game. If you're asking personally, I really wanted to be, I guess I don't have like a 20-year personal goal, but my goal is definitely to get married and settle down with my girlfriend and that sort of stuff. Definitely buy a house somewhere nice where I can retire.
That's nice. Where has been where was the furthest you traveled to from where you were originally from?
I mean, I travel a lot, so it's not, I've traveled, I mean, do you want something in miles or kilometers or that sort of stuff? Because I don't know, I do not know the exact number, but I've traveled a lot.
Doesn't matter. Whatever's the longest, it's impressive, I'd say.
Right, so I've traveled all over the world. So I guess the furthest I could travel from one place to another, I've traveled that distance.
Okay, fair enough. I can see that. Almost. If you were to start another business, what business would that be?
Okay, so what I am an expert at doing it is advertising, right? So I always tell people if I had to start from zero, I will go into a venture advertising business, right? So what I call venture advertising is where I put my own money up for small businesses to do their advertising and then take a cut out of their produce, right? So I have an ice cream shop here where I'm a partner. So when I do advertising for them, the way that revenue share works is whatever they make off my direct response advertising, I take a cut out of it, right? So I'm gonna do that business and I'm gonna do it over and over again, no matter where am I living, no matter which industry I'm in, as long as I can do direct response advertising and they're getting clients from my advertising, I'm gonna take a cut of that. That is the business I'm gonna start out with.
Great. If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would that be?
A meal like something you're gonna eat.
Yeah,
If my life is gonna be a meal, it's gonna have an appetizer part, which is gonna be really like unappetizing stuff. Maybe like, I don't know, like a pea soup or something. But when as my life grew, it got a lot better, and right now my life is somewhere between a great steak meal with champagne and that sort of stuff. So that's what my answer is.
delicious. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Most definitely, I'm gonna live somewhere in Japan, somewhere close to hot springs and that sort of stuff because I really love that stuff. That's the kind of place I want to retire at.
Yes, absolutely. What kind of music do you often listen to?
My personal preference is country music, and I also have a lot of affection for James Blunt. But country music is where my heart is at.
That's nice. What is the most ridiculous fact that you know?
What's the most ridiculous fact that I know,
Mm-hmm.
professionally speaking, or in general?
Either way.
Okay, so I'm gonna say professionally speaking, right? The most ridiculous fact that I know is a lot of businesses rely on paid online advertising. But the thing is, I know for a fact, because I know all of the engineers behind it, I know the people who are attending those board meetings. The most ridiculous fact is that big platforms like Facebook, like Google, and companies that can constantly spend on their advertising and create a moat around their advertising strategy. So if they are spending a lot to get their customers, their competitors, their smaller competitors cannot spend that amount to steal those customers away and steal that market share away from them, right? So these big companies only care about the big advertising clients, and the big advertising clients have their primary strategy as spending a lot of money to get a lot of clients, right? So the smaller competitors can't really compete with them unless they have a differentiated data backed strategy to compete with their bigger clients, right? So that it's almost like a conspiracy at this point, conspiracy in the sense that most people are ignoring it, but it is the truth. Bigger platforms do not care about smaller advertisers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Can't argue with that. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
If somebody is gonna write a book about my professional life, it's gonna be about the thing I say to all entrepreneurs that attend my seminars or that are in some sort of a coaching program that I conduct. The first thing that you need to know is, as an entrepreneur, your primary job is to say yes. Say yes to everything. Say yes as often as possible. Say yes to working on Saturdays and Sundays. Say yes for working for little money. Say yes no matter what. That is how you're going to grow as an entrepreneur, right? Even if you have to work 24 hours a day, say yes to that. No matter what happens, you have to say yes to that. I do not believe in a healthy work life balance, and as you might know about me, I am a serial insomniac. I do not get I get about 2 to 3 or 4 hours of sleep a day, and I work the rest of my time. So I really preach that sort of lifestyle to others as long as they are really building their entrepreneurship and their business, right? So that the book is gonna be about something like saying a yes and sticking to your plan, pivoting as much as possible when you are failing and when you are trying to grow into something that is more suitable to your skills. That is gonna be about my professional life, right? Because as I said, right, I worked in a publishing house, I worked at a music venue, I worked in multiple places, right? I've started out as a freelancer, and then eventually I pivoted to a big marketing agency, right? And what we are doing right now is we are really looking to become the biggest marketing company there is. So it's all about starting from a small point and saying yes as much as possible to grow bigger and bigger and grow as big as possible, right? So saying yes is gonna be what the book is gonna be about if it's written about my professional life. If it is written about my personal life, it's gonna be about the mindset of having the tunnel vision to do something. Even if your personal life is having a lot of problems, just focus on your business or focus on your professional life, and that's going to take care of you and keep you sane, right? Having that ability to compartmentalize and keep your personal life and professional life separate, keep different departments in your business separate. If one is having a problem, cut that arm off and focus on something that is really growing, right? So that's gonna be the books are gonna be about either compartmentalization and tunnel vision, or they're gonna be about saying yes as much as possible.
That's a very good point. Who was the last person you've talked to?
Right now,
Yes, before you came here, who was the last person you've talked to this week?
the last person I talked to before I came here was my secretary, Alia. She's about to retire and she's been with us for 15 years. So, sorry, she's been with us for right from the start, right? So she's been with us from 12 to 15 years anyway. I don't remember when I hired her, but she's been with us right from the start. So anywhere from 12 to 15 years, but she's almost like a family member and she's about to retire this month. and take a summer vacation in June and July. So we were just talking about her, like transferring her duties to my new secretary that I've just hired.
Wow, that's great. Good for her.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What is the best way to stay motivated?
If you are gonna be an entrepreneur, and especially if you're outside of US, because something I believe is entrepreneurship is easier when you're in the US or Canada or in a more developed country, right? But if you're outside of US, you are going to be facing a lot of issues that you're not going to find answers to from your mentors, from searching on Google or that sort of stuff. And you are also going to have a lot of different, even if you're in the US, you're also going to have, it's going to, as an entrepreneur, it's going to be nearly impossible to find somebody else in your life that you can relate to. I mean, you can try joining a mastermind, you can try joining a cohort, you can try networking online, but you're never gonna have that real sort of connection with other entrepreneurs that you need to support yourself, right? So at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to be intrinsically motivated, right? If you are the kind of person who can motivate themselves, no matter how hard the time is, how hard the times are, only then you should think about becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a lifelong entrepreneur, right? So the best way that I don't know the best way because I'm not an expert at this thing, but the way I do it is I always think about how my business is going to help others and how me making more money is going to help my family out. It's going to help me out, it's going to help, let's say my grandmother, it's going to help my grandmother out. So that image in my mind and always thinking about that image is what drives me and helps me and allows me to work in a high risk high pressure environment. So if you have that sort of an image in your mind, then you will always be motivated. At least that's how it works for me.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. Have you ever met anyone famous?
Yeah, so if you're talking about Hollywood famous, no, I haven't met anyone Hollywood, met as in met face to face, right? Because I've seen famous people at a distance, but I have not, when it comes to Hollywood, but I have not met them in person, right? But in Japan and in Asia, I've worked with a lot of politicians and celebrities, music stars, and TV show actors and actresses. And so many of them are my clients, so I meet them at a regular basis. And if you are talking about really really famous, like like a hall of fame or something like this, no, I've not met somebody really really famous, but I work with a lot of celebrities and politicians and civil servants that are technically famous.
Okay, that's all right. We'll get there someday.
Right, that
Yes,
is one of my goals, to get higher profile clients.
absolutely. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
If my mind was an island, it would definitely be some, not a tropical island, it would be a colder island, right? Somewhere similar to Greenland or Iceland. And also it's gonna be full of like cubicles and work desks, and because I'm a workaholic, and it's gonna be full of my work and I'm gonna be doing all of that work, and it's gonna be that sort of a place. So I really wanted to be a secluded place, but I also wanted to be a place where I belong at, and that's where my work is, right? If my work is there, I belong there.
Okay, that's nice. What is the best way to start the morning?
The best way to start the morning. So what I do is, as soon as I get, when I'm about to go to sleep, I create a journal entry of everything I want to do when I wake up, right? So when I wake up, I just follow that journal entry. Usually it is getting on top of the day, reading my Google alerts, my news, and that sort of stuff, and figuring out what's going on with the world, and figuring out what has transferred, because my business is spread over 13 countries at this point, right? So due to a lot of different time zones, the office timings are different. So I go through the briefs and figure out what has been going on while I was sleeping, and get on top of what we have to do today. And then I go from there. Focus on getting client calls and focus on doing like my daily founder coaching, which is I usually spend about 4 to 6 hours every day coaching founders over the phone. So I plan for that and figure out what I need to say to them. And basically, my the first part of my morning is basically me brushing my teeth while going through news and creating notes for the calls that are about to come on.
Fantastic. Well organized. If you were going to sail all across the globe, what would be the name of your boat?
The name of my boat would be Premium Cheese.
Nice.
I mean, I
If you
don't really have a favorite boat name, but I just have a pizza box in front of me that says Premium Cheese, so I just picked it up from there.
that's cool. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to be in?
Oh, that's a hard question. If I'm just going back for entertainment, I'm gonna be going 400 to 600 years back in Japan during the samurai period and that sort of stuff, because I find it all really cool. If it's gonna be something more personal, when I can back travel in time and fix a mistake or something, I would love to go back about 15 years ago and like really help myself out.
Okay, cool. What is your favorite holiday tradition?
My favorite holiday tradition is, let me think about it. Hmm. So, as you know, I'm a workaholic and I'm not really into a lot of holidays. And I guess the way I celebrate every holiday is I have all of my friends over and we do a lot of food. And one of our traditions, I guess, is to order pizza and wings and different sort of drinks and really celebrate in front of the TV, watching reruns of our favorite shows like Big Bang Theory and that sort of stuff. I guess that is if that counts as a self-made tradition.
Yeah, it's good. Very good. What was the last book you've read?
The last book I've read is Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World. I guess that's the title, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a very interesting book. It's a book about Genghis Khan and his life, and it has a lot of leadership skills, and it has a lot of leadership lessons that you can learn from it, and it has a lot of things you need to know about history. So it's a must read book. It's a definitely must read book.
Fantastic. What natural landmark would you like to see someday?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What natural landmark would you like to see someday?
I'm sorry, I'm only getting what natural would you like to see some days cutting out in between?
Okay, what natural landmark would you like to see someday?
Got it. So the landmark I would like to see would be Wall of China, because I've always wanted to go there, but I've never been there. So that's something I really, really would like to talk about.
Very good. What would be the first thing you'd do if you found out you won the lottery?
Well, if I ever won the lottery, what I'm gonna do is at first I'm gonna separate a part of it to give away to others in need. The other part I'm gonna keep, and I guess I'm gonna find relatives who need it, and I'm gonna like give away that portion of them to it. And whatever I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna put it in the bank, and I'm gonna make sure it's safe. I'm gonna contact my lawyer, contact my state agent, and they're gonna help me keep the money safe so it really stays in the family.
Smart. I like that. What is your favorite season?
It's winter, especially in Japan.
Oh yeah, of course. Especially in Sapporo, it snows a lot there in the winter.
Right. I guess you can call it a forever winterland. And that's what I love about it, right? I don't like warm climates. I really like the cooler part of the country. And it's amazing, right? It has everywhere you look, you are gonna see some breathtaking scene out of it.
Yes, absolutely. It's the best.
Right.
If you could host a talk show, who would you have on?
I mean, I would like to have a lot of people I'd like to talk to. Mostly, they are gonna be businessmen or scientists, and a guest I would really like to talk to is I don't know. I don't have a preference of a singular guest that I like really look up to, that I really want to have on my talk show. But I don't know. I don't have a single figure in mind that I would like to have on my talk show.
That's cool. That's all right. Usually I have a
Maybe
wide range.
I would love to have Winston Churchill on the show.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. What is the weather like where you are right now?
Where I am right now, the weather is very hot. It's like I really have to like travel for work, and I'm gonna be taking my family for summer vacations. So it's really, really warm right here. I mean, I
Wow.
can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you rather be teleported 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
Would I rather be teleported into the future or the past? Right?
Mm-hmm. Or 500 years to be exact.
Right. So I would love to be teleported to 500 years in the future over the past, right? Because I'm really sort of a future guy. I don't care about the past as long as there's a better future out there. I really want to see it.
Yeah. Uh, Honestly, I'd take the future over the past because the future, so much technological advancements, and of course, maybe there's something that we don't have now, but could exist in a couple of centuries that will definitely benefit us for the better.
Right, there are a lot of things to look up to, look forward to. There is technology. We are also gonna try and build a better world for our kids and our grandkids, and we are gonna try to build a world that is more tolerant. We are gonna try to build a world that is safer and better to live in. And I would really like to go in 500 years in the future and look and find out if we have achieved that or not.
Yes, fantastic. And that is it for the episode. It's great having you on, RV, talking about business consulting, marketing, startups, consulting, entrepreneurship, and so much more. It's been great.
Great, thank you so much for having me, Peter.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.